What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing things that look very similar to what happened during our last bull run with the altcoins, and how in this moment, during the last time we had a huge alt season back in March of 2017, we had something very similar to this happen, to where we had this big pause in the market, but then it suddenly resumed itself with just as much craziness as it did that we just had a month or two ago. I'm going to show that by looking here at the total altcoin market cap. We're going to look at the Bitcoin price chart, the Ripple XRP price chart, because the Ripple XRP price chart really tells us a story, and we can compare that to things like Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Monero, 0x, and I'll really just kind of tie the whole picture together to show what still has me extremely excited about this market. I wasn't able to post a video yesterday because I was very busy, but I was up late at night when I had the opportunity to look at charts, and I started seeing all of these things all over again, and just reminded me of how exciting things are. Started tweeting, I'm a hodler. But I know that these times are very difficult. I'm just very grateful and very thankful that we don't have some crazy narrative. During December of last year, being an XRP holder, we had to go through an absolute nightmare. I don't know if anything will ever top that in regards to narratives. Maybe, I guess there could be. But right now, fortunately, we don't have something crazy like that that still provides us like 6-month bleak look to the future. This is kind of just a temporary price suppression, price pain. But throughout the history of my channel, I've always tried to provide some type of optimism when we have situations like this. And I'm going to show the things that I see that have me very excited about the market. And I know when we get into periods like this, especially when we've been in them for quite a while, now going on almost one full month, in just a couple of days, we'll have been in fear for over a month, that sometimes we can kind of just get beaten down, and it feels like it's just kind of repetitive and the same thing over and over again. So I'm going to try to present something from a different kind of angle today and show what happened in the market when we had that big pullback that just happened, and why I'm seeing incredible amounts of similarities, especially with this recovery that we're having. I'm sure we've all noticed it. It's been a little odd that Bitcoin's had such a big fall, yet there hasn't been some at least like recovery retracement bounce, right? It's still just kind of holding itself down. Same thing goes for a lot of the altcoins. Not even any really like 50 or 61.8% retracements happening in here. Everything's still just staying really low. And so I'm going to show a few things from what happened in previous cycles and kind of correlate to that to what's happening in today's price charts. First, let's lay this out on the table. I am biased, right? I'm biased towards that there is going to be another push up in the market. I am bullish on this market. So I'm going to be providing a bullish, optimistic viewpoint that we're going to be going higher. I've talked a lot about this Fibonacci retracement level here on the rally prior to capitulation. The total market cap of cryptocurrency pinpoint nails the absolute top. I've shown that on past cycles with previous coins, that using that rally prior to capitulation has provided these tops before with monster pullbacks, same size, 60, 70% pullbacks, grueling grind before going on one final surge. This one is Litecoin, XRP, even though structurally different. This is the rally prior to capitulation, did the exact same thing, went out and did a perfect nail on the Fibonacci extension using the 236 on the rally prior to capitulation, gave us the exact knock, pullback, consolidation, one big blast. And now there's one thing that's always stood out on the XRP price chart. If you've been following this channel for a while, you've been following it for the XRP content, is that we know that we broke above a 3-year resistance level right over here, right? We've been talking about this one for quite a while, finally got through it, ended up back testing it, now just hovering on top of it. And while we were hoping we would just continue up higher from right here, I always mention it always has to be in the back of my head that that could happen, because we've seen something like that happen before. When we rally up this high, break through, hit $2, scary pullback back down to the 3-year support, and then off and away we can go. So I've been spending some time really kind of looking at this structure that happened right here, looking at this structure that happened right in here, and saying, are we seeing this anywhere else in the market? Well, what was happening with XRP at this time is you could see it came up and it slammed into its all-time high and then got a massive knockback. And one thing we can see that happened here in XRP's recovery before it went on to this next phase up, there was no big bouncing around that took place in here. It really got stuck down here at the lows and just stayed down there. I've switched this from the daily time frame to the 2-hour time frame, to where each one of these candles now represents 2 hours rather than a day, so we can see more detail on what happened in here. But we can see how this big fall happened, and then it just kind of meandered in this area, bringing down one more time and then finally it went off. But we could see how low it stayed down in here before it ended up going off to go even further, and once again going off nearly equal distance from what it had done on the prior rally. But the thing to take note of what happened with XRP during this time period and when it had this big knockback and just hovered down here near the bottom before going higher is that occurred right when it slammed into its all-time high. So we keep talking about the total market cap reaching out to this full extension, massive pullback, hovering down here near the bottom. And then you stack on top of it that there's these other altcoins out there that did the same thing where they hit the very all-time high and then had this massive pullback at the same time. This one is Litecoin, this one is Monero, and this one is 0x. All slamming into their all-time highs, getting massively knocked back, which is what we saw happen to XRP back in 2017 when it hit its all-time high, and it ended up falling 60% at that point, followed by very low consolidation way down in here, and then a break back up and off it went. So here we go. I've got two charts on the screen now. On the top, I have Litecoin. On the bottom, I have XRP, like we just talked about. Litecoin came in and it hit its all-time high, big fall back. When XRP had its big rejection from the all-time high, we can see that price level that it came back to touch to hit this rally that happened right here, this retracement rally, which we have a retracement rally for Litecoin that occurred right in here. We can kind of see the same thing of where Litecoin pulled back to as well. Whether you like Litecoin or you don't like Litecoin, that's not really the point of this. I know people have strong feelings one way or the other. And the reason I bring up Litecoin is because it's one of those coins that have been around for a very long time. And during 2017, it was one of the primary coins. There was really four primary coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Litecoin. While Litecoin hasn't been in the talks very much, I suspect at some point it will again. But I see things like this that tell me, okay, so we've got Litecoin hitting its all-time high, big rejection from the all-time high, find support on top of a retracement rally that happened in the middle of the bear market. Same thing happened for XRP. Also, the consolidation that's taking place is happening very low rather than big ABCs that are showing up in here. We're getting very low consolidation way down here at the bottom, just like we saw back in here. So I'll move both charts to a smaller time frame, Litecoin on top, XRP on the bottom. Take a look at what the consolidation looked like in here. And we can do that by using Fibonacci retracement tool to see where were we hovering around in here when this retracement happened before it ended up moving up. You can see it stayed all the way down in here, most of the time being spent under the 236, occasionally popping above it, but for the most part, really all this consolidation was taking place down below in here. We look at Litecoin. Do we have the same thing happening in here? Sure enough, we do. We see the same thing, barely coming above 236, but most of this consolidation taking place right below here down in the red area, which is really strange, right? So like if you're going to be ABCing and heading down much lower, typically what you'd get is you get something like this where you kind of retrace back up, fall back down, and then roll up like this, and then you go ahead and continue on your way down. Very odd to see all this consolidation taking place way down here at these lows, unless if something else is at play, which is what I suspect is that we're just pulling back from the all-time high for Litecoin, getting ready to go on another rip and break through that all-time high, which while we're talking about Litecoin, it's not just for Litecoin, that's for the rest of the market as well, that we're seeing this same structural behavior happen throughout a lot of places in the market. But let's reiterate what we saw happen here, right? XRP hits all-time high, pulls back to the rally that happened in the bear market, then low-term consolidation below the 0.236. Litecoin smashes into the all-time high, large pullback, finds support on top of a rally in the bear market, consolidating low below the 0.236. Very similar setups happening here for Litecoin that happened to XRP back in this time period. Also, looking at Ethereum Classic, I noticed something very odd to me over here, or odd or unique or identical to XRP, is that here's this consolidation area for Ethereum Classic. Here was the consolidation area for XRP back in the previous bull run. You can see by the time it got out, it built a support in this price area right in here. You can see this first support followed by one push and then a second push much higher. Same thing happened for Ethereum Classic, getting this little rally or this little support building that happened right here on top of this area, which was the consolidation or the accumulation zone, followed by one push and one more push higher. And again, low consolidation again, low consolidation. And while Ethereum Classic isn't building its support on top of a rally in the bear market, it is building its support on top of the previous all-time high. And I think the thing that is so eerie about this XRP chart and this Ethereum chart, or this Ethereum Classic chart, is how similar these things looked at this time period getting out of here. So the big question is right now, I mean, if you just kind of look at these things structurally right in here, where are you in this, right? Are you really just right here or are you way over here, right? From a time perspective, this is 1 month long for XRP. However, this whole time period is only 1 month. This whole time period right in here, this is like 6 to 7 months for Ethereum Classic. So is this being drawn out incredibly longer or more so just like somewhere right here? Or are we way over here now at this point? Why would I suggest that maybe we could be further into this than we think? And it's from looking here at Bitcoin and looking at XRP, and you can kind of see what this looked like, right? It had this big fall back down. Looks like it's breaking down, you know, a couple of rallies on top of that trend line, couple of rallies on top of this trend line. Looks like it's breaking down, comes back down to the lows, not setting a new low. Bitcoin, same thing, back down to the lows, not setting a new low, consolidating up in here, consolidating up in here. So I find it much harder to believe that we would come crumbling down from where we're at. I think people's emotions are just more in pain and in fear, and there hasn't been this big recovery that was supposed to happen really quick because there's laser eyes and diamond hands, and this thing is supposed to be the super bullish thing in the whole wide world. But I can tell you that for me personally, because if you watch this channel for a long time, you know I'm always looking at the Fibonacci retracements. The things that scare me on Fibonacci retracements are when we start seeing ABC structures coming up retracing back to that 702 or 618 or 786 retracement levels. Those things terrify me that, okay, man, maybe this thing is over. But the longer we stay down here, the more you have to start kind of looking around. And I start saying to myself, what have I seen before in circumstances where we did this really low consolidation? Not only that, but where these altcoins all hit these all-time highs and then pull back like that. Or when we reach out to the full extension based on the rally prior to capitulation, what happens in all these circumstances? What did the accumulation structures look like for a lot of these things? And over and over and over again throughout the whole market, we keep showing these signs that this thing's going to break to the upside. Nothing is guaranteed. All we can do is look to the past to try to draw information from it. But when I look to the past at all these different things, none of them are telling me this market's going to just crumble and crash into the ground. This circumstance has proven time and time again that it breaks up higher, where we reach this entire level. Litecoin hitting its all-time high, then finding support on top of a rally during the bear market. In the circumstances we have to look at in the past, that was just the catapult for the next grind way higher. And in the circumstances where we've seen these large knockbacks where the consolidation all took place down here at the bottom with a large fall, it led to the next big giant rally. And so as there's a lot of fear out there while we're in this lower consolidation, there hasn't been that big relief that everybody's looking for. I think it's better that there hasn't been the relief. And I think the charts tell us that. Because usually when we see big volatility happening within ranges, that is indicative of a bigger move to the downside, and that this is actually just a retracement, and that this is just an ABC taking us back to the 618 retracement level, followed all the way back down to the bottom for the B leg, and then the C leg back to 702, and then it's over, which we're not seeing right now. Like you're seeing over here on the Tesla price chart. But either way, when I see these things right here and I kind of put the pieces all together to say what have we looked like when we've smashed into all-time highs for altcoins, seen these large knockbacks, total market cap hitting the full extension 4.236 based on the rally prior to the capitulation, I say to myself, my conviction is that we're still going to go higher. That's it. It's as simple as that. I've got conviction, and that's just what my mind is going to be, and my mind is made up. I've been fortunate enough to have the experience in this market to not have to go through those things that a lot of people have to go through when they get into crypto. And I remember that you're kind of questioning whether or not any of this is real. Is any of this that, how much faith do you really have in anything? Were you buying just because prices were going up, or do you have conviction on what you're invested in, right? And I went through all those growing pains during the 2017 bull run. So here I am in 2021. I don't have to sit there and go through all that, but I know that's a really hard barrier to break through. It's very clearly obvious that cryptocurrency is here to stay. It's very obvious that cryptocurrency and digital assets are going to play a role in the financial future of the world. The big question is which ones will long term? How much of price is going to get pushed up due to speculators and gamblers, right? How much is going to be pushed up based on utility? That's always the big difficult thing. But my conviction with cryptocurrency in general as an asset class is always there because I've been through all of it. I've had enough time to stay around here and research enough to know that, hey, this stuff isn't going anywhere. And so a lot of times when we see this big volatility, you see people who were speculating or people who were gamblers who just got in because the price goes up and then it falls down. They don't really understand it. They get scared. They sell. They have no conviction in what they're doing. They're just kind of price chasing all over the place, right? And so for me, unfortunately, I have the patience built into me because it's been 4 years since the last bull run, right? I have had the patience to sit through an entire bear market where lots of crypto assets drew down 95%. So I'm emotionally equipped to be able to handle these types of situations and not just immediately jump to, hey, the sky is falling, this is the end of the world. I'll look towards the situations of saying, hey, is there potential here that this is something we've seen before and that this market is going to continue grinding up higher? And based on the things that I'm seeing happening in the market and the way this market is consolidating and with the price levels that the entire cryptocurrency market reached out to, I have the conviction that we're going to go higher. And that's just my opinion. Everyone has to make up their own mind on what they think. But I try to present you the data on why my conviction is the way it is. A lot of people call me a legend or from the future and stuff like that. And it's nothing like that. I try to explain everything of why I have the opinions that I have and present you the data for the argument on why I drew that conclusion. But when I present the data, it's up to you to decide whether or not there's any validity to anything that I'm showing here. And maybe is my conclusion correct? It's up for everyone to decide on their own. But this is what I'm going with. And I think the excitement of this market is just around the corner. For some people, does that mean it's in an hour? Does that mean it's in 4 hours? Does that mean it's tomorrow or next week? Timing is impossible to predict. But I stay here, diamond-handed, green laser-eyed, that I think the excitement is still ahead of us. And well, hopefully with what you saw that I presented today, maybe you come to that same conclusion too. Maybe you don't, but maybe you do. And that while everybody is out there scared and in extreme fear, that maybe, just maybe, we're seeing exactly what we've seen happen before. But all right, there we go. A little bit of like ASMR relaxation there at the end. I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. It is Friday. I will be around this weekend. I do have family coming in from out of town, but hey, I can wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning if something chaotic is happening. I will try my best to do so. Otherwise, I think we can head into the weekend with that optimism that I just showed right there. And so you guys can catch me over there on Twitter throughout the weekend. I'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. If you'd like throughout the weekend, of course, you can check out my website. It's bcbacker.com. This is my course where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the different altcoin market cycles, tying them all together to show how those alt seasons have happened, where Bitcoin's price chart is at. I talk about mathematics and percentages. I talk about my personal exit plans. I teach you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro if you're wanting to learn how to set up charts. I do have updates that I've included in here. I added the most recent update on May 31st. You can check all this out over here on bcbacker.com. Again, you could follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.